If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is March the 17th, 2023, and today the topic is false advertisement. Happy Friday? Is it Friday? Happy Friday, y'all. Let me just confirm. I want to make sure. Yeah, it's Friday. Hope that you all had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine. Basically yesterday I went and worked my shift at the church and had some good old conversations. Shout out to my baby sister. Y'all might see the multi-entrepreneur out here and put out another brand and everything like that. So go and check her out and everything that she has going on. I had a good old conversation with her yesterday. Good conversation with my brother from another mother. My co-star of none other than The Cash. Y'all already know. And yeah, that's pretty much what my day entailed yesterday. I mean, still praying and trying to figure a lot of things out. But yeah, to God be the glory, man. A lot on my mind as always. So I did have another dream last night. But the main part that I remembered is waking up to the person in the dream called me an antique. I know that might sound weird and strange or whatever. I looked up the definition of antique, and it made me, it makes me feel good at least, even though I think, we probably think elderly or something when we think of the word antique. But anywho, that's the main thing I remember in the dream. I mean, I remember a few other things, but I didn't look it up. Not yet, really, anyway. But basically, I listened to the prayer meditation this morning, and it had me all, thinking about, like, boundaries. This word boundaries keep coming up in my heart and mind and in life. And I'm like, well, Lord, what you want me to do? And everything like that. And at some point, I started to make a list of, like, my faults. And the first few, like, 3 things I wrote down were things that, even though they might be faults, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I guess these are things that God put in me and that makes me me. And so at the end of the day, I don't know if they're necessarily bad or false, But anyway, this thing I know, I'm thinking about that. And how did I get to this topic? So basically, I was thinking about that, and then ultimately I was thinking about, like, anybody that I've ever had, like, conflict with in my life. And I noticed that those people had something in common, and most of them were fellow believers. And so, with that on my heart and mind this morning, that's when the phrase false advertisement came into my mind. And I'm like, well, Lord... obviously I chuckled at it, like I'm chuckling now. Like, wait a minute, what do you mean? But then I guess I got the conviction of something else I saw this morning. So, have you all seen on social media these commercials, right? Or they're showing, like, the behind the scenes of a commercial. So they show you a stack of pancakes, like the commercial that we see all the time, stack of pancakes with the syrup and all that. But then they show you that the syrup is really gasoline. And the pancakes is looking so high because they put cardboard between them. And then, so I came across that type of video this morning before I did my prayer and meditation, before God gave me false advertisement. And then when he gave me false advertisement, he brought that back into my heart and mind. And I was like, oh, Lord, well, let me just go get my journal. That seems like to be the topic today, false advertisement. And I guess this one is for believers, y'all. I think I started to understand on another level the conversation that I had yesterday with the gentleman, you know, the one that was like, hey, Miracle, what do you think is the reason why people aren't coming to the faith? You know, do you think it's believers, or do you think it's, you know, just their personal thing? And I do still stand by what I said. I do still think it's a personal choice at the end of the day. It shouldn't matter what a believer say or do, what you decide to do with Christ, right? But I guess this one is for the believers today. False advertisement. I could totally see how unbelievers might look at us as believers and be like, y'all ain't even, you know, doing what the Bible say. Y'all ain't even representing Christ correctly. Y'all ain't even really following Christ. I could see that. I could totally see that. I mean, you know, even when I think about me and my shortcomings and me and things, I'm like, you know, I'm trying my best, like, to line myself up with the word and, you know, and see where I fall, you know. And I ain't gonna lie, as I was thinking about different things today and looking up different verses and things like that, I mean, it was like a mirror, again, held up to my own face to ask myself, do I line up with this? You know, have I done this? Have I operated in this way? And so, yeah, y'all, let's not be like those commercials. Let's not be false advertisers of Christ. You know, on the flip side, again, like I feel like I just talked about this yesterday, and I feel like I've been talking about this all week, but here it is again, y'all. I mean, this may be the weirdest thing to hear somebody say, oh, I'm just going to try to do things Christ-like. I'm just going to try to show love anyway. I'm just going to try to have the grace and mercy that God has given me for people. You know, that might be the strangest thing. And stuff, and it don't feel good all the time. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm sitting here trying to do it, and it don't feel good. It don't feel right. It feels wrong, you know, and everything like that. But I mean, that's what the Bible is calling us to do. And if we're going to claim to be believers, the least you can do is follow what Christ did, do what Christ did. And so I was taking a look at a lot of different things this morning centered around that, and that's where the topic came from. And so let's get into it. Let's get into it. What does this look like? What does it look like? So I noticed that, well, let me just read these verses and I'll share with you guys what I noticed. So Ephesians 4:25, it says, therefore, having put away falsehood, let each one of you speak the truth with his neighbor, for we are members of one another. So, all right. So if we believe it's right, we're supposed to be members of one another. We're supposed to be, I'm one part of the body, you the other part. You know, we all working together, basically. And so, you know, we need to be putting away falsehoods, right? It says here, speak the truth with your neighbor, things like that. Let me read this next verse that I felt led to share. And it's Ephesians 4:22. It says, to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires. So maybe that's where some of the false advertisement come in, because we haven't laid down all of our burdens to the Lord, right? And hey, again, you know, I'm still human out here. You know, I just told y'all the other day I was upset, you know, and everything like that, and that's a whole nother conversation, because the Bible don't tell us that we can't be angry. It say be angry but don't sin, you know. So that's a whole nother conversation by itself, though. But regardless, you know, I have to make sure, right? We have to make sure that we are not leaning on our old way of thinking and doing things, right? And so if we're going to be believers, we got to take on the mindset of Christ, according to what I'm studying. And so with that, you know, might be some, again, you have to renew our minds, new way of thinking, new way of doing stuff. And so therefore, if you were somebody that was easily jealous or envious back in the day, then you might need to lay that down, friend, so you can be more like Christ, you know. If you're someone that was whatever, put the sin in there, whatever it is, fill in the blank, y'all. We might have to lay whatever that is down to be more like Christ. And again, I'm here to say it ain't the easiest thing to do, you know, not trying to sit here and be like, so do it, you know, pointing the finger at you. I'm pointing the finger at myself, you know, and like I said, as I read these different verses this morning, it's like I was looking at myself in the mirror to be like, Miracle, did you do this? Are you doing this? Did you handle this in the way that Christ would? And I'm still not completely sure. I was like, well, I think I did here. And then maybe I should have did a little better with this. Or maybe there's some way to find balance and put boundaries up, but still be Christ-like, right? So it's a process, right? It's an everyday thing. So basically, let me share what I noticed. So basically, I noticed that this verse and the last verse both came from Ephesians 4. So I went and checked out Ephesians 4, and it had a lot of obviously some good wisdom and whatnot in there. So that's what's in one of the things that's in the Go Deeper section. And I was going to pick out some other verses that stood out to me, but you know, I had already chosen these two to share. So check out Ephesians 4 to go deeper with all of this. So let's keep going. John 13:34 and 35. It says, a new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this should all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love to one another. To another. Yeah, one to another. If you have love one to another. So, this concept of love, like, soon as I read it, I'm like, well, what does that mean? And on one hand, it seems like it should be simple, right? We know this word love, and it's, you know, it seems like we should understand it, but again, what the Bible portrays to be love is something totally different than what we believe is love, right? So with that being said, I know that, for example, again, sometimes I feel like what I've observed is that unbelievers, they group together and they feel the love and acceptance and whatnot in their groups versus in, you know, Christianity or in Christ or in the church or however you want to put it. And because, so there's a few things there. There's a few things there. If we have love, right? If what we have in Christianity and through Jesus is what actual love is, and then there's a false sense of love in the world, as we say, then yeah, is what they're holding on to actually love, or is it that you just want to stay in your sin, and so you found a place to be accepted in your sin, and you're okay with that, and you're comfortable with that, and you all lump together, versus having to come to Christ and have to actually change and have to be different and whatnot to experience what true love is in Christ. Again, that's a whole nother thing all by itself, but basically, if I just focus on today's subject at hand, and again, if I just talk to believers in this moment, yeah, I mean, we are supposed to be showing the most love. We are supposed to be showing the most grace, the most mercy. Now, granted, again, there are places where we have to, I guess, set boundaries and everything like that. There's plenty of that as well in there, but we're not talking about that at the moment. We're just talking about just false advertisement in general. Like, if we are going to be believers and we say that we have love and we know God and we got true love and all that, then we need to be showing that and giving that regardless. Regardless of what whoever do to us, we still should be giving the love, grace, mercy, and all that other stuff. At the end of the day, from what I'm understanding and believing, what the Bible tells me is that the more I do that, the more that the Lord will fight my battles for me. Like, I don't have to go and get the vengeance. I don't have to go and do any of the other things. I just need to show the love, the grace, the mercy that God has shown me. Now, if I'm wrong, then okay, so be it. But I'm just saying what the Bible says. That's what it say. But see, the thing is, people don't see that from us. They don't see us giving each other grace and mercy and love. They don't see us giving them grace and mercy and love. Like at the end of the day, if we're gonna like, I was hesitant to share with you guys what I felt like was my faults, but here it is. I guess I feel led to share in this moment. So one of the things I wrote down as one of my faults is that I guess I'm too welcoming. And then on one hand, I was like, well, that's not a fault. You know, at the end of the day, this is something that God has put in me to do and be, and therefore, I want people to welcome me when they meet me. You know, I don't want people to prejudge me when they meet me. So therefore, you know, I try my best not to prejudge anyone and just welcome them with open arms into my life. Now, whether they want to stay and all that stuff is up to them, you know, ultimately at the end of the day. But, you know, that's at least what I try to do. Now, does that leave me open to darts and targets and whatnot? Perhaps. And does it feel good? No. And sometimes I'm wondering, well, Lord, should I be more closed, right? Should I not be as open? Should I not be as welcoming? Should I not be as Christ-like? But we know the answer to that. Basically, when you sum it up that way, I think the answer is pretty clear. But if in case you don't know, I believe that the answer is no. That's not the case. I should be Christ-like, and everything like that. Now, but anyway, I'm not gonna go too deep. Let's keep going. So then, the funny thing is, so that's funny that, okay, Lord, you bring it around full circle. So, there was a verse that I came across that I almost didn't write down because it's kind of lengthy, but I ended up writing it down because it went hand in hand with what I just told y'all about me looking at myself and feeling like, okay, this is a fault of mine. I might be too welcoming. You know, I might be too transparent. I might be too open and whatnot. And even though I've created a platform to be just that, to be open and transparent. So again, all of this stuff feels weird to call them faults because these are things that God has put in me to share. You know, it's not just for me, it's for anybody that encounters me, right? And so how can I try to encourage and inspire other people to be open and transparent, right, if I'm not going to be open and transparent? You know, how can I expect anyone to welcome me if I'm not going to be willing to welcome someone else? So I came across this verse that seems like a little bit of confirmation for me to stay in my own lane. Even though it might not feel good all the time. You know, even though, yes, I might be an open target for people or whatever the case is. But as a believer, I trust and depend that the Lord is going to lead me and guide me and take care of me and everything like that. And that all things will work together for my good because I love the Lord. And so these are the verses that felt like confirmation this morning that I felt led to share. It is Colossians 3:12 through 14. It says, put on then as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other, as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. Friends, this is the juice this morning. You know, at the end of the day, if you're a believer, this is what you should look like. And, you know, there's going to be issues. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be issues of life, right? And at the end of the day, what I'm seeing here is that there's ways to handle those things. We should expect those things. We should, I saw verses this morning telling me I need to give praise when I encounter such things. And so ultimately, this is the juice, y'all. You know, let's not be false advertisements of Christians. You know, let's be and do what it's actually saying to do. And that starts with us, within us, you know. And then it goes out to the next person and the next person. You know, it starts within, and then our homes, and then our communities, and on so from there. So that's the juice, y'all. Listen, now the Bible verse of today is Romans 10:13. It says, "For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Just a reminder, today is Friday, so we should have a new episode of the GSL Talk Show coming out at 7 p.m., and it should be a chat with, I forgot the man's name. But if y'all follow me on social media, Actress Miracle Sims, y'all may have seen the flyer. My apologies for forgetting his name in this moment, because I'm starting a brand new journal, y'all. So I don't have his name written in it the way I did yesterday. But anywho, I hope y'all have a wonderful Friday, and I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Hey y'all, I'm Nyla O'Neal with Anchor Phlebotomy Institute. We're located at 737 South Hill Street in Griffin, Georgia. Look, this program was birthed out of a will to help and push you closer to your dream, customizing each and every learning path for each and every student, giving you hands-on education with myself and other teammates. We're here to help you and drive you to be the best version of yourself. Look, we're a 12-week program, and it will be vigorous, but it will be worth the work. Put the work in, you will see it in the end. We are dedicated to seeing you not only finish our program, but to get certified. We are an accredited school through the National Phlebotomy Solutions, and we are so ready to meet each and every one of you. Contact us today.